She's the friend who'll show up with coffee or wine when you need it most. But probably wine. Good vibes are on the way. Welcome to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, welcome back to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. I'm Erin. Love having you here. Welcome to June. Oh, am I glad to have this month here as well, because this is summer, even though it doesn't feel like it because it's been 60, and that is ridiculous. So one of the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to summer is something you can do that's super easy that will automatically lift your spirits and also make somebody else smile, maybe several people smile, and that is stop at kiddos' lemonade stands. Now, I have always done this to the point that there have been some times when I'm like, I'm just immediately pulling over and then looping back around because I don't realize they're there, and then I see them and I'm, nope, gotta stop. And I can truly say that I don't know if I've ever actually tasted a cup of lemonade that I've purchased, because all I'm there to do is make them smile and give them whatever I can for said lemonade. Usually, it's like 50 cents, maybe $1. They never leave without 5 from me, or I never leave without giving them at least 5. Whatever I got, I'm like, hey, this is for you guys. And they get so excited. And honestly, like, they're out there learning the value of $1, and their parents are setting it all up for them, I'm sure, it's just lovely. And it automatically makes you feel like, you know what? I made somebody smile today. And those kiddos get so excited. One of my favorite memories, actually, with my husband was we were in Newport, Rhode Island. It was probably just over 15 years ago. And we drive past this kiddo who's on her front lawn with a sign that says toys for sale. And he was like, what the heck is she doing? So we turn around, we go and chat with this little girl, and we were like, why are you selling, your stuffed animals and your toys? And she said, oh, well, mommy said that if I wanted to get this toy that I had to get rid of some of these other ones. And so my husband said, fiance at the time, what kind of toy are you looking to get, hon? And she said, oh, there's this little dog that will sit there and listen to me read. Now, I have no idea what this toy is, but I guess like the dog would give nodding signs and stuff like that, and actually looks like the dog is paying attention while the child is reading. So Jody goes, well, hey, how much is that dog? And she's like, oh, he's $35. My husband immediately gives her 40 and says, keep your toys. I want you to get that dog. And it was so sweet. To this day, I talk to him like that was the nicest thing. And it was only a couple hours later that he looked at me and said, I just realized maybe the parents were trying to teach her like a lesson. Plus, they were trying to declutter their house a little bit by having her sell some toys. So if you're listening and this was you, so sorry. We did not mean to take away a lesson or anything. He was just trying to do something nice. And it wasn't until hours later that we both realized that we may have screwed you in that process. And again, not our intention. And we were not parents then and obviously didn't understand. But safe to say that she probably had another sale at some point to get rid of even more things that we did not help with the first try. But I digress. Do what you can to just make those kiddos smile, because it always lifts my heart when I see them out there with their little signs, all excited. Many a times you're going to get a cup of lemonade with some sort of bug floating in it. We just ignore that. We thank them for their time and their efforts and energy. And then we get back to our real life stuff. This actually brings me to something that I saw on the Kelly Clarkson Show. And it's something that may not seem like a big deal to you, especially if you have always had birthdays celebrated. But there are many kiddos who have never even had a birthday cake. And when I saw this organization on the Kelly Clarkson Show in April, I knew I had to get a hold of them and have them on the Feel Good Frequency, because what they do leaves a lasting impression with kids who have never had a birthday cake. I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I did. So I'm here with Alison Bakewell, and I love the fact that your last name is Bakewell, and you are the main contact person at Cake for Kids, which is an organization that does such great things. Can you introduce yourself and just give a little bit of background?
Sure. I'm Alison Bakewell, Executive Director at Cake for Kids. And we bake birthday cakes for underserved youth who might not otherwise get a cake. Very simple. We have volunteer bakers who bake in their own home. We partner with human and social services agencies to reach the youth. Our bakers deliver the cakes to our partners, never to the youth, and we do that for the privacy and safety of the youth. We do serve youth who are in domestic violence or human trafficking shelters. You can imagine they really do need their privacy for their safety. So
Sure.
I started as a volunteer baker, about 12 years ago. And quickly learned that even though my last name's Bakewell, I don't decorate well. And volunteered to help in the operations team. We were all volunteer run at that point, and found that was the place where I could make more of an impact. I still bake occasionally, but it's cupcakes because you don't have to frost a cake and make it smooth.
Yeah, cupcakes are a little bit easier. You can look all fancy with the cupcakes without having to do much circumference. I like that.
Yep, definitely.
So I saw you on, the reason I know that this organization exists is because I saw you on Kelly Clarkson Show.
Yeah.
That is
was so
incredible.
exciting.
Tell me about that. What was it
Yeah.
like?
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun, and it was such a great exposure for the organization and for our volunteer baker Roberta, who came on with us, and the big surprise at the end where Roberta got to meet one of the moms of the kids that she baked for. That was really touching, and I don't think the audience got to hear it. Roberta talked about her story. She's a former foster youth, and so that's what drives her to do, like she said, she's done over 800 cakes. And she said she knows how those kids felt because she didn't get any attention or anyone doing a cake for her while she was in the system. And on her 16th birthday, her foster mom actually finally baked her a cake, and she said she can still remember the cake. Like that cake made such an impact on her. And so that really is the reason why we do this, is because these kids feel like they're not seen, they have no value, and when someone, and in this case someone who doesn't even know them, does something special for them, that just is impactful for them. It makes them feel like they're valued, that someone cares, and that's the whole point of why we do this.
I can't imagine not having a birthday cake. It's just something that most people wouldn't even think about. But the fact that it was ever brought to such a forefront, and the founder, I know she's no longer with us, but
Yes.
What a legacy to leave.
Yeah. And it started, so when Libby started this, she just rounded up some friends and said, we're going to bake some cakes. I heard about this foster youth in the Midwest who had never gotten a birthday cake. So if it's happening there, it must be happening here, and I want to do something about it. And that was 2010.
What town was that? What city?
We started in San Francisco Bay Area in Silicon Valley. And, the first year, 2010, we just did 13 cakes. And then it slowly grew. The year I joined in 2013, we were up to 900 cakes. So we're, again, all volunteer run. A lot of these people were friends of Libby's. And it just, the more people heard about it, the more they wanted to get involved. And, today we expect to deliver 20,000 cakes this year.
Wow.
Across the country in 19 states and DC. It's incredible how many people feel so strongly about making an impact on a youth and wanting to join us and make sure that they can serve as many kids as possible.
I literally have tears in my eyes just thinking about how beautiful this is for those kids and how wonderful the organization is. And like you said, it's a simple concept, but it's something that makes such a difference in these kiddos' lives and the parents too. Like you were saying, this woman on the Kelly Clarkson Show was so grateful and thankful. And your baker, the reasoning behind her wanting to do it, it's so personal and also must be so rewarding for her, doing whatever she can to make sure another kid doesn't feel like she did until she was 16.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you made a really good point that it makes an impact on the family as well. You know, if you think about it, you're in a situation where you've got to make a decision about, do I put food on the table or do I celebrate a birthday and try and make my child feel special? If we come in and provide the cake, then you don't have to make that difficult decision. You can still make your child feel special and you can still put food on the table.
Which is such a beautiful thing.
It's a huge relief to the family as well. The other impact is with the social workers who work with the kids. You know, these kids are let down over and over and over again. And when someone new comes in and says, you know, I'm here to help you, I'm going to do all these things to make your life better, these kids are like, yeah, right, I don't really believe you. You're another adult in my life that you know, is probably going to let me down again.
They have reason to be skeptical, of course.
Yeah, and then a caseworker says, what kind of cake do you want? You get to choose the flavor. You get to choose the theme. What do you want? And then the caseworker delivers on it. That starts a bond and it's some trust between them. And we hear from the caseworkers over and over again that really helps break down some barriers so that they can get in and really try and help these kids.
Right. So like, trust me, I'm going to follow through on this. That's such a big deal.
Yeah. So, it's far-reaching. It doesn't just impact the child, the family. It impacts the relationships that the kids feel. And that maybe they're going to trust someone else in the future, too, because, they're learning they can trust this person. So.
Oh, my gosh. I love the ripple effect of it. I really didn't think about that until we started talking about it. And, yeah, the way that can instantly bond the social worker with the child, the kid, the person that's been let down over and over again that's profound. It might just be one day. It's a birthday. It's one day. But when you've celebrated birthdays your whole life, maybe you don't look at it that way. If this kiddo has been place to place and never really had a big celebration of their day, they'll never forget it. Like you said, she was 16 years old and she still remembers exactly what that cake looks like.
Yes.
I know you said that it's happening all over the country. How do people find out if there's a location near them? How would they get involved if they wanted to?
Yeah. So we have a chapters page on our website that shows all the locations that we're in. Some states we're in multiple locations, like California. So we originally were just Bay Area, and we weren't planning on growing outside the Bay Area. And someone from Fresno asked if we could bring Cake for Kids to Fresno, and that was kind of our trial, like, how do we grow?
What year was that?
That was 2017. We started growing outside of the Bay Area.
Wow. This has gone fast if that was just 2017. Okay, continue. I'm impressed.
And then, so we kind of got the hang of it. We opened a couple chapters in Northern California and San Diego. And then someone kept asking us to open in Northern Virginia. And we're like, oh my God, that's like so far across the country. We don't, it's a new time zone. We all work in California, West Coast time. So, she finally talked us into it. She said, I'll answer the phones, early in the morning. And that was really what sparked the significant growth for us in 2019. We really started growing. And then the pandemic hit and we had to stop delivering for a while. People were at home. There was a big bread baking thing going on, but there was a lot of other baking going on and people getting into decorating. They had a lot of free time on their hands. Mm-hmm. And we opened 6 chapters in 2020. Like, that was just...
Wow. The year nothing opened to anywhere. You opened 6 chapters. That's really an amazing feat.
and we started delivering again, and we had to learn how to deliver safely, and work with our partners because they couldn't see any of their clients in
Person. Yeah, everything was
so
Zoom.
we figured that whole distancing thing out, but we still weren't getting that many cake requests, and we had all these very eager bakers. So we did a program called Just Because we knew that, we were feeling the effects of the pandemic. Imagine if, you're underserved, the effects of the pandemic are probably even more.
Sure.
So we started this program, and we did it for the caseworkers as well. So if they knew someone who was struggling or just needed a little pick-me-up, we'd bake for them.
Oh.
We ran that program through the end of 2020, early into 2021. The cake requests started picking up again, regular birthdays. We also celebrate graduations, adoptions, academic awards.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know that you celebrated other things too.
Yeah, we know that if these kids aren't getting, their birthdays celebrated, then probably other big impactful moments aren't being celebrated as well.
Sure.
And when you look at foster youth, adoption is a big moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
To get a forever memory.
Huge, biggest moment of their lives,
Yeah.
I would think. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we celebrated those moments for those kids. So
Oh my
back
gosh.
to 2021, we started, the cake requests started coming back in for, our core mission. And, then every year it's just been growing. Last year we did over 16,000. And like I said, we expect 20,000 this year. Used to be that Christmas was our biggest month, and now it's May or June because of graduations.
I was going to say graduations, that's a huge time for that. I love that. So you were saying back in 2017, somebody called you in Northern Virginia and wanted to open it. Was that a social worker, or was it a bake shop or baker, or who wanted to do that?
It was just someone who wanted to bring Cake for Kids to it's just
like a volunteer person that wanted to help?
Mary. And she's still with us, and she is the ambassador for Northern Virginia. So she read about Cake for Kids and thought that it would be really good to have it in Northern Virginia, and reached out to us, and really had to convince us that we'd make this leap across the country.
But it definitely worked, because now you're
totally
all
worked.
over.
Yeah.
So now if there's a town that you're not in, if there's a city that you're not in, how does that happen that they get there? Is it a social worker usually that's asking, or is it just a baker that's like, I think we should bring this here? How does that work?
Yeah, every year we open up a application period for new chapters. So we did that last August. We got over 100 applications.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're probably only going to open 2 or 3 chapters. We're trying to be very sustainable in how we grow. We can't, like 2020 when we opened 6, we can't keep doing that.
Right.
So we go through and we find the areas that we feel have the strongest balance of need and supply, right? So the people who need the cakes and the volunteers to bake. We recruit the partners. So, we do occasionally have human or social services agencies that reach out and say, hey, are you in our area? But what we need is someone committed as an ambassador to start the chapter. So that's how the volunteers drive where we open new chapters.
So when you say that you then reach out to find people, are you reaching out to social services? Is that who you'd reach out to first?
Yeah. So once we decide we're going to go in an area, we work with the ambassador, and we're like, okay, Google foster family agencies, Google homeless shelters, find all these human and social services agencies, and we help them reach out to them, say, hey, we'd love to deliver cakes to you. And you'd be surprised how hard it is to give away free cake.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never said no to cake.
Yeah, I know. But if you think about the organizations we're working with, they're very resource strapped. And so we're going to layer our services on top of theirs. But they're looking at like, oh my God, this is one more program we have to manage. This, we hardly have time to do what we're doing. They see the value in it. They love it. but sometimes it's just really hard for them to figure out how they're going to manage one more program. Our partners that do figure it out love it.
I love what you do. These kiddos are never going to forget this kindness. And it's like you restore their faith in humanity once they've started to lose it, which must be so devastating, especially at such young ages. And thank you for being the goodness and the light that helps restore their faith. That is just, you're making such a difference. And I'm so honored that you took some time to talk to me here, because I love what you're doing and I have such belief in it. Thank you so much. Is there a Facebook page? I know that it's Cake number and then 4, like the number, kids.org, cakeforkids.org. And then are you on social media as well?
We are. Yeah, we are. We're on Instagram and on Facebook. Just a quick story about Instagram.
Yeah.
We have followers and it grew a little bit every year. And after the Kelly Clarkson Show, we got 3,100 followers in 2 days.
Wow. Kelly's got some power, I tell you.
Yeah, what a boost for us. And even we just got a donation yesterday that said, I saw you on the Kelly Clarkson Show on social media today. Like, it's still paying it forward. And that was, almost 2 months ago that we were on the show. So.
Yep. She is just, she's a light on her own. That girl, I have met her a couple times and I cannot say enough good things. She really is what you see on TV, which she's totally that person. She is just cool.
She's just the most engaging, warm, open person. She was so lovely. It was such an honor to meet her and engage with her. And she was lovely. And
I love that is still making a difference for you. Yeah. So yay, congratulations on that and all your success. And thank you for being such a great difference maker in this world. We need more of you.
Yeah. I'm so glad I found it. And that's what we hear from our bakers all the time, is that I am so pleased to be able to take a passion of mine, baking, and turn it around, do something good with it, and impact these youth's lives.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Keep doing what you're doing, because it makes such a huge difference. That's wonderful.
We will.
Thank you so much. If you are one of the many people helping across the country with Cake for Kids, what a spectacular organization you are part of. I can't let this week go by without acknowledging something that I am so happy for. Taylor Swift, girl, she got her masters back. And I know she has been working toward that goal forever, since they were sold from under her. And here's one of the good things that came of this. There are now artists and bands that have come to Taylor and said, I never would have thought of putting that I own my masters in a record label contract until you. So you going through this publicly has helped so many different upcoming artists and bands. So that is a good thing that came of the negative. If you are not a Tay-Tay fan, oh, I'm sorry, because I love Tay-Tay and she puts a lot of good out in the world. I know this because so many of my friends have met her. I haven't personally met her, but people that I'm close with have met her and their kiddos have met her. And this lady has taken the time to write those kiddos thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes, because of course they meet her, they give her bracelets or a handmade card, that kind of thing. And she takes the time to write them. I don't know where she finds the time, but those kids will have those cards from her for the rest of their lives. And I just think it's really special that she takes time to do that. I don't, for the life of me, understand why anybody ever comes after her, because she just puts good out in the world. Really. I mean, unless you're an ex. But I'm here to tell you, if she's saying something not so nice about you, is probably because you did something not so nice to her. So you kind of know that going in. But truly incredible human. And I am so happy that this week she got back what she always should have had to begin with. And she also said, thank you if you are one of the many who bought the Taylor versions of albums that she re-recorded. And what made me think about this too is that Kelly Clarkson was the one that gave her the idea to re-record her albums. There is a famous tweet that's out there about it, and Kelly had talked, and that is why she did it and was able to have the backing to buy the masters back, along with, of course, the millions of people that went to see her last summer. I know, side note, what are you going to do this summer without the Eras tour? I know, a lot of Tay-Tay fans, very upset. But you being there helped her buy that back. So pat yourself on the back as well, because you were part of why Taylor got what should have always been hers, and I am truly happy for her. So this month, it is Pride Month, and I have really great things coming up on the podcast. I'm really excited about it, but I'm keeping it secret for now because, you know, surprises are fun too. If you are celebrating Pride Month, happy Pride, and I am forever and always an ally. I am a safe space, and I thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic week. As always, I'm grateful that you spent some time with me. Bye.